the person who is doing ultrasound should be registered.
Sir, we will come to this later.
No, that is the most important thing. Probably this discussion should be concentrating on what we should do and what are the problems.
That comes. Dr. Amal, what do you think the reason for this female infanticide in India?
Female.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Female infanticide. You talked about infanticide, not feticide. Okay, fine. Whatever. So obviously there are lot major reasons, but the main thing is socio-economic factors, and then the proven gender bias which is there existing right before the birth of a female child, about which we are all aware. Fortunately for us in Kerala, we do not have such sort of a gender bias. But you look at, of course this has got a cultural background also. You look at our textbooks, the primary school textbooks which we have, which says that the mother will cook food and the father will go out and work. The male child will go out and play while the female child will stay at home with the mother. So at birth itself or even before birth, we define gender roles and we say that a female child is inferior. A male child is superior. Male child is allowed to play while the female child is at home. So then it moves on like that. So this sort of gender bias is there even in our textbooks. So knowingly or unknowingly we are, strengthening these bias. And then in areas where the level of education is low, the economic status is low, naturally things will work out against the female child. So obviously I don't think I'll have to go into the reasons, but this is what is seen in rest of the parts of this country. Why Kerala is ahead is, we all know the reasons again. The most important thing is education, and even more important is female economic empowerment. So it's female economic empowerment finally which will decide how this country can improve. In fact, as Dr. Vijayan said, PC-PNDT Act is not making an impact in improving the sex ratio. Why? Because this is just one part of the problem. The problem is education, economic status, and the other socio-economic factors which play into this. So unless all these factors are taken into account, this is not going to improve. See, even if Kerala and South India improves, you have a huge area in UP, Rajasthan, Bihar. So where things are always been working against the female child, and it's continuing to do so, not only in terms of PCPNDT Act, even otherwise. So unless those things are improved, this sex ratio is not going to improve.
Dr. Hari, you want to add something?
I was just thinking we should stop at this level, how this law came into existence, because it is very difficult for us to undo what has already happened. So when you look at the law, it is regulating prenatal diagnostic techniques. When you look at the law in detail, it is just an invasive procedure which is done for sex selection. But unfortunately, subsequently it has been some point which where at point somewhere it is ultrasonography is being added. Finally, what is done is it is almost regulating the ultrasound and not the so-called prenatal diagnostic techniques. So when you look at the law, these prenatal diagnostic tests can be done only in a very few conditions, where that means after 35 years when there is history of exposure to drugs, teratogenic agents, and there is history of abortions like that. And you interpret both together, even the president's daughter, when it is brought for an ultrasonography, we can reject by saying that it cannot be done under this law. But there is a lucky situation which is written within that law, which says that, I don't know whether the time allowed, I can show that, where the Central Advisory Body can add some of the other conditions which can also be into it. For example, I can show that. So it's actually this. It is written like this: prenatal diagnostic tests or techniques can be done in conditions like 3 or 4, where the age of the mother is more than 35 years, two and more abortions are there. There is exposure to teratogenic drugs, chemicals, etc., etc. So that we cannot do nothing except these conditions, including other ultrasonography also. But as the 5th point, it is written as any other condition which is approved by the National Advisory Board, Central Advisory Board. But all the conditions which are later being included in the Form F is really given by the Central Advisory Board. So luckily, after that, to correct this irregularity, this has been introduced. So what is in short is, the law is written not against ultrasonography but against invasive procedures. And no corrections has been done, no amendments has been done, and finally that raw law has been implemented by the Supreme Court. Now we know that we have to accept what really happened. So I think it is better not to discuss much on the law, but on what should we do at present with our present scenario.
So we will end this part of just by adding one more point by Dr. Vijayan.
Because, now the inspection is mainly concentrated on ultrasound clinics, but actually this abortion is done in hospitals. When you go and analyze the data in the hospitals, you can see a lot of abortions are going. But the indications given, there are missed abortions, bleeding PV, something like that. How much missed abortion can happen? So you have to interrogate into that subject and inspect these centers. Then only we can control this feticide.
Actually, when you are inspecting these hospitals, are you seeing the ultrasound reports of the infant abortions? All are actually done by the same gynecologist or others from outside, or radiologist or some others, or
reports or from outside reports.
From the hospital, wherever we inspecting, we'll check everything.
that means the one gynecologist can do the ultrasound. She can or he can
do the MTP also. She can do the MTP also.
So something may happen there.
Yeah. But the law actually, as per the PCPNDT Act, we cannot do anything based on that. The law regulates only the use of.
That's why. When you are inspecting the ultrasound clinics.
Yeah, it has been modified. There should be some more modification. Actually, to strengthen that law.
The radiologists are penalized just for the phone number is wrong, date is wrong. That's like.
No, sir.
So many silly things.
No, sir.
Anybody from the audience side want to just add? We are going towards the actual part of the final discussion.
It is a good that a law is there and there is some check is there. But the way it is implemented is really bad. In the sense, when a person comes, an inspecting team, whether local, outside, they come to the station with a view that the radiologists are criminals. As if an income tax raid or a police FIR or a police investigation taking place, they come. They pounce on the department and then suddenly ask for the books. That way is bad. There is no respect to the person who is doing things. We are all doing good work, isn't it? Then second thing I find is there is no uniformity in reporting. There is a form given, the way I report may not be the same with him. And the nodal officer may not be knowing, or the inspecting officer may not be knowing the context of writing. Recently one person came, it's a central team came to my hospital. He says, I have to write for myself, that form F. I don't know, I don't understand why he says.
You have to sign that, sir.
He says, I have tried myself. So he has interpreted like that. I have interpreted in some other way. I said, I may not have time to do it because we do 100, 140 cases there. And when I say I am responsible, so why are you bothered? So that is the way a central team is doing it. The third thing is, I would like to know how many cases you have analyzed about the abortus fetus, the sex. Do you have any ratio of the sex of aborted fetus?
No.
No. I mean, since you are working with this team for many years, you can give a suggestion to the lawmaking body to amend this. And regarding the forms, there should be a clear indication how it is to be filled, what you people want. I can fill any number of forms, but still I can say the sex to the person. How can you prevent it? This is absolutely superfluous. This is one suggestion I can. This can be told. Even I can mark the placenta, do not make any comment. Send to a sonologist or university center. They can put a needle there and take the amniotic fluid, or even they can take an amniotic biopsy. There is no, it's a communication is, between persons. So this form is superfluous. It never helped to prevent infanticide, feticide, or anything.
So my point is that when we are making so much of hue and cry over this feticide, how early you can diagnose sex merely by using an ultrasound. So the main sex determination, we all know that it takes place in centers where you do the chromosome analysis, and in places where they do the abortions. So these are the two places where we have to actually impose controls, not on all the ultrasound machines. So that's my simple opinion.
Now, when you, as you said, that's the rule is for the land and all. When you implement a law or enforce a law, that should be a balanced one. Now, if you look at the form of Kerala, the current status, even in government institutions, which the government bodies represent as these people are the people who go to the private institutions and all. This form of is not properly maintained. These records are all not properly maintained. So the only thing is that we can just because these people are from the government, they are protected. So we can say that just because there's a law, they are protected.
No, sir.
So it's a large area we have to discuss on.
I have a difference of opinion about that, because law actually does not protect any government people or private people. Because if the National Inspection Team is finding a government doctor guilty, he is punishable. No, whatever we are discussing is upon this PCPNDT Act. If I can go to the next portion,
okay.
I can.
Can I say? What is said on how early we can detect the sex of the fetus? That question cannot be answered now, because whenever you do an ultrasonography, there is a declaration which is done by which say that you will not look for sex. Then how can I say that I have detected sex by 16 weeks? It's unethical or against law, which can be punished. So I can be punished if I say that I can detect sex as early as 16 weeks.
We should disclose.
No. You will not look for sex also. There is a new form F says that you will not look for sex.
See, if accidentally you have looked and seen, please close your eyes. So actually we are splitting hair. See, there are two things. This is a good initiative, this act, for states other than Kerala. We may. Why this is a good initiative? Because we don't have a better initiative. That is why. Not that this is the perfect initiative. And what as Vijayan was said, whether this act has succeeded also we don't know. But we don't have anything else. Now government of India is trying with other soaps, like if the only one female child is there, you don't have to pay fee to the school, or you get special concessions. Now Narendra Modi has started, if you have got a female child, you can have a special bank account, so finally you will have so much money. These kind of social interventions may be the answer. But for us, this law of the land is there. Central team can come any day, and central team has already come. One of your person's center has been closed. So that is our threat. So we can change the law. We can catch all people who are doing abortion. We can kill all the gynecologists who is doing all these nonsense. All these things, it can be done simultaneously. But I think this discussion should concentrate more on how to comply with.
Yeah, we are coming to that.
So I think the national committee has conducted a raid in 2 districts, that is Thrissur and unfortunately I am from that district, Thrissur and Trivandrum. Anyway, we are happy here also. Anyway, so two districts it has been conducted, and he was with the team. Let us have first-hand experience on that side.
So before that, I will come. How to register a new clinic and renewal of registration? Dr. Vijayan, please, you have.
To start an ultrasound clinic, genetic laboratory, or any counseling center, you have to apply for registration in Form A. And the application should be submitted in duplicate, and the applicant can have a receipt for that also. After applying that, within 2 months, the registration has to be given. That means the advisory committee of each district should meet within 60 days. But this is not happening in many of the places. Because when we apply, it will take more than 6 months to get in.
Even that is against law.
That is, even the authorities are sacrificing this law.
Because people in Kerala, the medical community in Kerala, the administrators, they have taken this law lightly, very lightly.
I know, when I went for a training in Punamalai, none of the authorities, like DMO, DHS, participated in that training. Only the nodal officers. They were asking, where are your officials?
Yes,
so this government sector is taking this law lightly. But now they are harassing the people who are doing it. Renewal also, after every 5 years, you have to pay the half of the amount and get renewed. The same procedure.
1 month before.
Before the expiry of 1 month, you have to apply for that. And it should be
90 days. Within 90 days.
Fee is now 25,000. First registration. Subsequent registration, it is half of the amount.
If it is a genetic clinic,
genetic clinic is 30,000.
35,000.
35, right?
35.
Ultrasound is 25.
25,000.
What are the records to be maintained by a ultrasound clinic, particular for this under this rule?
The law is strict on many things. One is exhibition of some of the mandatory boards.
So what are the exhibitions?
Yeah. One is the certificate, the registration certificate of that clinic. That registration certificate means the registration of that machine, the doctor, and the premises where it is used. That should be exhibited there. One copy should be exhibited, and one copy should be with the hospital or the doctor who is practicing it. And the second thing is, in local language, we do not disclose the sex of the fetus. That should be written at the foot end of the bed. Okay. Yeah, wall, on the wall at the foot end. Well, the pregnant mother has to see that.
Or outside the waiting area? Or
one outside the waiting area and one inside, which should face at foot end.
Is there a rule like that?
It has to be there in the room, but compulsory that foot end.
Is it there in the act? Is it there in the act?
when the National Inspection Committee visited this time, they were particular about this thing.
But is it there?
It is there in the Act. It's there in the amendments.
Is there?
Yeah.
You
can check with that. You can check with that.
We are doing outside of this.
Okay. This happened 3 weeks back.
Sir, but I want, is it really
It is, if the National Inspection Committee is particular about that, then it will be there in the law. Otherwise, they won't be looking that. Even in that inspection form, it is there. It is written there.
It is just like entering into a police station. There are a lot of irregularities which happens in police station, and we will accept it only because they can find fault with us by charging with some other